Listen closely. You can read every book, watch countless videos, and repeat affirmations of self-love 1,000 times. But if you don't grasp this one essential truth, the love you're seeking will always feel just beyond your reach. Today, I'm not here to share theories. I'm here to hand you something far more valuable, a key, a truth that Carl Jung unearthed, one that has the power to forever transform how you relate to yourself and others. Are you ready to discover it? If you're watching this, it's because a part of you already knows there's something deeper. This isn't just about shadow work or balancing inner energies. It's about translating those ideas into real change that you can feel in your day-to-day life. And by the end of this video, you won't just understand why love has felt distant. You'll walk away with a clear, actionable path to reshape how you relate to yourself and in turn to those around you. This is not theory. This is transformation through awareness. Your relationships aren't random. What draws you to someone, or pushes you away, is closely tied to what's unresolved within yourself. Think about the last person who stirred something powerful in you. Whether it was love, anger, or deep frustration, they weren't just a fleeting presence. They were a mirror, revealing a piece of you that's still hidden. Maybe you're consistently attracted to people who make you feel unsure of yourself. Or maybe you're irritated by those who display qualities you quietly reject in yourself. Today, you'll learn how to use that emotional mirror to identify and heal the forgotten parts of your identity. Because until you do, you'll keep searching for love in places where it can't truly be found. The question isn't, why is this person acting this way? The real question is, what is this person reflecting back to me about myself? This concept, the relational mirror, runs deeper than it seems. When someone stirs a strong emotional reaction in you, you're witnessing a projection of your own unacknowledged shadow. Look at the recurring patterns in your relationships. Do you keep getting drawn to similar types of people, or do you avoid certain personalities altogether? Both reactions are revealing. Attraction and repulsion are two expressions of the same inner signal. They both expose vital information about your inner landscape. When you feel captivated by someone, ask yourself, what do I truly admire in them? Could it be that these are qualities I've yet to embrace or develop within myself? Maybe you're drawn to their freedom and spontaneity because your life feels overly structured and confined. Likewise, when someone deeply irritates you, ask, what is it about them that unsettles me? Could it be that I too carry this trait, but have pushed it away or refused to acknowledge it? Perhaps it's arrogance in others that gets under your skin, when in truth you're quietly wrestling with your own superiority complex, one you're reluctant to admit. This kind of self-inquiry can change your life, but it demands honesty. You must be willing to look at the parts of yourself you've hidden, even from your own awareness. That's where real healing begins. Often, the most difficult people in your life are your greatest teachers, that person who always gets under your skin. They might be the doorway to a part of you that's been silently waiting for your attention. It's not a coincidence that certain individuals show up in your world. They're karmic messengers, guiding you back to wholeness. And just as others mirror you, you reflect them too. When you internalize this, your relationships start to shift. You develop empathy and a sense of responsibility for how you show up with others. You begin to see that when someone reacts negatively toward you, they're not necessarily reacting to you, but to the part of themselves that they see reflected back. Instead of defending yourself, you can respond with clarity and compassion. The goal of this inner work isn't simply to recognize patterns, it's to transform them. Once you identify which part of yourself is being triggered in a difficult relationship, you can begin to tend to that wounded place. And in doing so, you integrate the parts of yourself you once rejected or ignored. Your relationships will begin to shift naturally and without force. This process of integration isn't instant, so don't expect immediate results. Start by observing your emotional reactions like a scientist studying something fascinating. Let go of judgment and approach everything with genuine curiosity. With time, you'll notice that those who once triggered strong emotional responses will no longer have that effect on you. Healthier, more balanced relationships will begin to enter your life. Instead of attracting people who reflect your emotional wounds, you'll start attracting those who mirror your healed, whole self. You won't look to others to fill what's missing inside you. Instead, you'll form connections rooted in shared wholeness, not emotional dependence. True love becomes possible only after this inner journey. When love comes from completeness instead of lack, relationships become spaces for mutual growth, not emotional survival. You no longer need someone to complete. You already feel complete. Here's a deeper truth. The part of yourself that you reject is the same part that quietly undermines your relationships. You cannot fully love unless you accept all parts of who you are. Think about the traits you dislike or hide in yourself. That is your shadow. Until you integrate it, you'll continue projecting your insecurities onto others. For instance, if arrogance in others annoys you, there's a part of you afraid of being seen that way. Or if you're drawn to those who make you feel small, it might be because a part of you feels unworthy or invisible. This is where shadow work begins, not to become perfect, but to become whole. Only when you accept all parts of yourself can you love and be loved authentically. Your shadow doesn't only contain negative traits. It also holds your hidden gifts and unrealized talents. Rejecting these parts creates an inner divide, a silent barrier that prevents the deep connection you seek. But when you embrace your full self, you stop chasing love outside yourself. You become love, and from that space, real connection becomes inevitable. This inner divide leads us to look for in others what we avoid in ourselves. Every time you judge someone harshly, you're actually confronting a reflection, that quality you can't stand in them. It may be something within you that you haven't accepted yet. Pay attention to your strongest emotional reactions. They hold the most important clues about who you are. Maybe you dislike vulnerability in others because you fear your own, or you criticize ambition because you haven't allowed yourself to want success or recognition. Your shadow also influences who you're romantically drawn to. Often, we're attracted to people who express what we've been taught to repress. If dominant personalities captivate you, ask yourself, do I have a desire to step into my own power? If you keep choosing partners who need saving, it may reflect your own unmet need for care and attention. Relationship sabotage happens subtly, but repeatedly. You might fear abandonment, so you push people away before they can leave you. Or you resist your partner's guidance because you fear being controlled, even when their input is reasonable. These patterns aren't random, they're defenses created by the parts of yourself you've not yet integrated. Working with your shadow takes courage. The first step is being willing to see it without self-judgment. When something in someone else triggers you deeply, ask yourself, where does this exist in me? Not to blame yourself, but to understand yourself better. Integration also means allowing your suppressed parts to be expressed in safe spaces. If you've denied your creativity, seek environments where you can explore it. If you've avoided connection, open up gradually to trusted people. With time, these rejected parts will stop sabotaging you and become sources of strength. A powerful exercise is to write a letter to your shadow. Acknowledge its presence. Thank it for trying to protect you. Express your desire to understand and integrate it with compassion. This internal dialogue can begin a deep process of healing and reconciliation. Here's the paradox. By accepting your darkest traits, you become brighter. By embracing your flaws, you become more real. And this authenticity is what allows for real, meaningful connections. The most fulfilling relationships are built when both people show up fully, light and shadow included. You no longer need someone to fill a gap. You come as a whole person. You stop projecting your fears onto others because you've already faced them within yourself. Relationships aren't just about feeling good, they're about growth. Every disagreement, every trigger, every heartbreak is a chance to learn about yourself. In this session, you'll discover how to see love not as a final destination, but as a path of self-discovery. Until you understand this, you'll repeat the same patterns. For example, if you keep ending up in relationships where you feel abandoned, it's because there's an abandonment wound that needs healing. If you constantly look for security in others, it may be because you don't feel safe within yourself. Here, you'll learn to use love as a path to inner growth, not as a goal that leads to frustration. When we treat love only as comfort and pleasure, we miss its deeper power. Relationships are life's most honest classroom, your clearest mirror. Every person who enters your life brings a specific lesson, and until that lesson is fully learned, life will keep repeating the same pattern. The faces may change, but the essence stays the same. Relational patterns don't happen by accident. If you take a closer look at your romantic past, you'll likely notice familiar patterns hidden within seemingly different relationships. Maybe you're often drawn to emotionally unavailable people, or you keep finding yourself trying to rescue someone. These patterns are not coincidences, they're invitations to look inward. They're signs pointing toward emotional wounds that still need attention. Attachment theory explains that the way we connect with others is deeply shaped by our earliest bonds. If love in your childhood was inconsistent, your adult relationships may mirror that same inconsistency, not because it's good, but because it's familiar. And what feels familiar often feels safe, even when it hurts. Noticing these recurring patterns is the first step toward healing them. The real purpose of romantic love isn't to make you happy, although happiness can be a wonderful byproduct. Love's true role is to reflect the parts of yourself you don't normally see. In intimate relationships, your deepest fears, hidden defense mechanisms, and suppressed desires tend to surface. Love is not only about finding the right partner, it's also about becoming the person who can love with depth, courage, and awareness. When conflict appears in your relationship, don't rush to decide who's right. A more helpful question is, what is this moment teaching me about myself? Perhaps your strong reaction to a small comment reveals a hidden insecurity, or maybe your urge to control stems from a deep fear of being left behind. These discoveries can be uncomfortable, but they're incredibly valuable if you're committed to growing. Attraction itself can be a teacher. You're often pulled toward traits you haven't yet embraced in yourself. If you're drawn to someone's freedom, it might reflect your own longing for liberation. If you admire their creativity, it could be because there's an untapped artist inside you waiting to be seen. Your strongest attractions aren't random. They're guiding you toward parts of yourself you haven't fully owned. Even heartbreak, as painful as it is, offers an incredible chance to evolve. When a relationship ends, you have two options: blame the other person and repeat the same patterns, or look inward and ask, what can I learn from this? The path you choose determines whether you become hardened or wiser from the experience. Mature love doesn't expect perfection. It seeks shared growth. In such relationships, happiness is not just individual, it's mutual. Every challenge is welcomed as a moment to grow, to stretch beyond limitations, and to heal together. Ironically, when you start to view love as a path for personal growth, deeper happiness follows naturally. You stop needing perfect conditions or ideal partners to feel complete. Instead, you find meaning in the journey itself, getting to know yourself more honestly through the reflection your partner provides. Transformation begins when you stop saying, "I always attract the wrong people," and instead ask, "Why do I keep choosing them?" That shift in perspective gives your power back. You're no longer a victim of circumstances or other people's behavior. You become the active creator of your relational life. Using love as a tool for inner growth takes courage. You must face uncomfortable truths, question deeply held beliefs, and release outdated identities. But what you gain is priceless. Genuine relationships, stronger self-awareness, and the ability to love from a place of freedom, not from need. So why do you keep ending up in the same types of relationships? The answer lies deep in your subconscious. The patterns you repeat are not just bad luck. They're signs that something within you still needs to heal. If you often feel drawn to people who hurt you, it may be that an old wound is still asking for attention. If you constantly seek validation from your partner, it might be because a part of you still feels unseen or unworthy. Today, you'll learn how to spot these patterns and finally break the cycle, so you can build healthier, more conscious relationships. Because until you do, the same patterns will keep showing up, just with different faces. Toxic relationship patterns are like invisible loops that play out with surprising consistency. You may change partners, but the emotional dynamic stays the same. This isn't because you're cursed or unlucky. It's the result of subconscious programming shaped by early experiences that now silently guide your choices. These patterns often begin in childhood, the time when you first learned what love looked like. If love depended on pleasing others, you may now feel driven to earn approval. If affection came with harsh words, you may feel oddly at home in relationships where tension is always present. The well-known idea that what's familiar feels safe explains why unhealthy dynamics often repeat. Your brain prefers the known, even if it hurts, because it provides a sense of control. That's why people often leave one toxic relationship only to enter another that feels eerily familiar. The first step in changing these patterns is building self-awareness. Look at your relationship history like a movie. What recurring themes do you see? Do you always end up feeling abandoned? Are you drawn to partners who are emotionally closed off? Do you lose your identity in relationships? These repeating themes are not coincidences. They're clues revealing specific emotional wounds. Every toxic pattern is built on a limiting belief. If betrayal keeps showing up, perhaps you believe deep down that you're not worthy of loyalty. If you feel controlled in every relationship, maybe you doubt your ability to guide your own life. These beliefs act like magnets, pulling in experiences that prove them right. Neuroscience confirms that these are not just emotional habits, they're also neurological ones. With repetition, your brain forms strong pathways. Changing these patterns means becoming aware and actively choosing new responses that go against your old habits. One helpful exercise is to identify your emotional triggers, the situations that cause big reactions. Maybe a small delay from your partner stirs up panic about being left, or maybe a comment about your appearance hits a raw nerve of insecurity. These moments are more than reactions. They're windows into your deepest wounds. Healing begins the moment you take ownership of your patterns. This isn't about blaming yourself. It's about recognizing what's been running in the background so you can finally choose something new. Your role in creating and sustaining these cycles continues as long as you view yourself as a victim of circumstances or other people. This mindset keeps you stuck in repetition. Real change only begins when you take full responsibility for your life. Breaking old patterns starts by reconnecting with your body. Relational addictions mirror other forms of addiction. Physical cues often signal compulsive behavior before it begins. Learn to notice how your body responds when you're drawn to toxic dynamics. You may feel intense excitement, false safety, or a strange sense of comfort. These are warning signs. When you start recognizing these signals, you gain the power to respond consciously instead of reacting on autopilot. One essential step is setting clear boundaries with others and with yourself. If you often lose your sense of identity in relationships, create routines that help you stay connected to yourself. If you're drawn to narcissistic personalities, decide in advance what behavior is unacceptable. Boundaries are not punishments. They're acts of self-respect that interrupt cycles of self-destruction. True transformation begins when you have the courage to choose something new, even if it feels uncomfortable. If you've been addicted to chaos and intensity, calm and stable relationships might seem dull at first. This feeling is normal. You're building new neural pathways and learning new ways of connecting. Remember, breaking patterns is not a single event. It's an ongoing process. There will be setbacks and temptations to fall back into the familiar. But every time you spot the pattern and choose a different response, you strengthen a new way forward. Neuroplasticity is working with you. Each new choice rewires your brain. The goal isn't perfect relationships, it's the awareness that gives you the freedom to choose. When you're no longer ruled by unconscious habits, you can build relationships that reflect who you are now, not who you were when you were hurting. You begin to love not out of need or fear, but from a place of completeness. Real love isn't something you chase, it's something you create. When you truly love yourself, love stops being something you look for and becomes something you naturally express. This shift changes everything. Until you understand this, you'll keep searching outside for something that only exists within. Love is not just something you give or receive, it's something you are. And when you live from that awareness, your relationships stop being a source of pain and become expressions of your true self. Love isn't a final destination, it's a lifelong journey. Many of us were raised to believe love is something external, something that finds us if we're lucky. This romantic story may seem beautiful, but it puts us in a passive role, waiting to be chosen, to be loved, to be seen. But that idea reverses the truth. Genuine love comes from inside you, like a spring that flows freely, not something you have to pull from someone else. Depending on others to feel love sets up a cycle of constant emptiness. It's like trying to fill a cup that keeps leaking. Love that comes from outside is always conditional and limited by someone else's capacity. The real transformation begins when you realize that you are the source of your own love. You don't need permission, qualifications, or achievements to love yourself. Self-love isn't a reward for being perfect, it's your birthright. When you let go of the barriers you've built against yourself, loving yourself becomes a radical act, especially in a world that measures your worth by productivity, appearance, or success. Self-love means valuing yourself when you fail, not just when you succeed. It means speaking to yourself kindly, the way you would to someone you care about. It means recognizing your inherent worth without needing approval. As you nurture this love within, your outer relationships shift. You no longer seek love from a place of emptiness. You give from a place of fullness. You stop searching for someone to complete you and start sharing the joy you've already found. Ironically, when you stop needing love so desperately, you become more open to experiencing it deeply. Relationships turn into spaces of growth instead of places to fix what's broken. You stop expecting others to heal your wounds, though you might heal alongside them. You stop needing someone else to make you feel worthy, even as you enjoy being seen through their eyes. This shift transforms what you're drawn to. When you act from lack, you attract people who reflect your unhealed pain. When you act from wholeness, you attract those who align with your integrity, who match your energy of self-love. There's a major difference between attraction rooted in addiction and one grounded in mutual resonance. Self-love, in its true form, is not narcissism. In fact, narcissism comes from deep insecurity and a constant need for validation. Authentic self-love means accepting all of who you are, your flaws, your light, your humanness. It also helps you see others more clearly and with compassion, because you're no longer projecting your unmet needs onto them. A powerful practice is conscious self-compassion. When painful emotions like fear, shame, or sadness arise, don't suppress or judge them. Embrace them as natural parts of your human experience, not problems to be fixed. This level of self-acceptance changes how you relate to your inner world, and by extension, your outer world. Always remember, love isn't a finish line. It's something you practice daily. There will be hard days when self-love feels out of reach, when old self-critical thoughts come back. Don't be discouraged. Every moment of awareness is a chance to choose love again. Every time you reconnect with yourself after feeling lost, you grow your capacity for authentic love. The greatest paradox is this: when you stop chasing love as something you lack, you realize it's been within you all along. Like a fish searching for the ocean while already swimming in it, you've always been immersed in love. Your task isn't to find love, but to recognize it, express it, first toward yourself and then toward everything around you. This is the secret mystics and sages have spoken of for centuries. Love isn't something you do, it's who you are. When you live from that truth, every relationship, every encounter, every moment becomes a reflection of that loving essence that lies at your core. Love isn't a reward for being worthy. It's a state of being that arises when you fully accept yourself, your light, your shadows, your story. No one will love you as deeply as you can love yourself, and that is the key. Once you understand this, love stops being a search and becomes an expression of who you are. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're ready to keep exploring how to transform your life from the inside out, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Remember, love isn't something you find, it's something you build, and that journey begins today. Thank you for walking this path with me. I'll see you in the next video. Until then.